All right, everyone, welcome back for another week of games here in Esea Premier. It's week number 7, it's day number 2, and we have got an exciting one coming your way. Apeks against Wisla. Both of these teams at the moment sitting on 4 wins and 2 losses. And, well, you also have another team at that exact scoreline, so the winner of this is going to get themselves into a pretty firm hold on that second place. So, yeah, it's an important match. And, well, it's myself and Wolfie to bring you that action. We're not going to have much of a downtime in these initial moments, as it is a straight-up A-rush. And with no kills yet,
Ooh.
it could still really go either way. But there we go. Nice shot by Sparrow. He's able to take out Grusarn in the back lines. And, well, they have a bit of time to try and position now for this after plant. And a nice catch by Goofy there. Attempting the boost over Connector is denied.
Nice trade, though. Relaxer able to find the quick refrag despite his position being known, and they're pulling Wisla apart just a little bit here. Flank coming in from A main, gets the frag for Dennis, make it a second as well, and Hades left to try and contend with the 1v3. It's an awkward fight for Dennis. He's not quite landing his shots, but he gets the reload off. Somehow Hades can't quite connect. And well, if you wanted a way for Apeks to get into a map that they struggled on against Wisla just a few days ago, that is one hell of a way to start.
Yeah, we didn't really get to touch on that. That was our bad. We were talking about the game. We were like, oh damn, this is going live already. And yeah, but it was 16-13, I believe, here on train. Then you had a pretty one-sided overpass coming in as well. So it wasn't a great time for Apeks. It was only a couple of days back as well. So reasonably, they shouldn't be getting a lot better on the maps, but there is the specific game that they can look at. They can have a look back at that matchup and see what was going wrong exactly for them. And I think you mentioned that both teams had really good CT sides, and it was the T sides where they really fell short.
You've actually got that all exactly the wrong way around.
Have I? Oh.
Yeah, train was 16-8, overpass was close, super CT sided on overpass.
Oh,
But
okay, that's
it's
my bad.
chill. It's chill. The information's
I
there.
have you
They
ready
can
for the
work
quick
it out.
correction, thankfully.
And Wisla looking for a quick correction themselves into the force by getting some good damage off as well. Kriaz eating the bullets. Dennis will still find an opening pick, but with Ponchik finding one and a low HP second, this gets very, very awkward over towards the B bomb site. Util going to be picked up. Famas recovered. Kriaz somehow gets a kill on a Molotov in drop. And they've actually rotated the entirety of the CT side over towards this B bomb site. Look at Hades' positioning. He's deep in towards spawn. Dennis, I don't think he's going to have any idea. He's just about checking it and actually wins the fight. That's going to be absolutely critical for Wisla's chances of getting into this round. Molotov to get Ponchek potentially out of lower behind that smoke, but as it starts to fade, too many angles, not enough time. And Grusan will clean things up. That looked really worrying for a couple of moments there. Wisla had some serious timings on the board, but just not able to find the conversion.
They looked very dedicated to that B aggression as well. Even after the upper player got dinked down to, I think it was like 20 health by the Mac 10, they still wanted to stick around with it. And I mean, I guess, yeah, knowing you're against the slightly weaker buy, the force buy at most, it does make some sense, but we did see it causing some damage. As you said, looked like it was going to be scarier though. They do manage to hang on in the end, keep it a reasonable round. And in this one, they're up against some Deagles and one hero rifle. So I'm certainly not counting Wisla out on this one. We've seen them pull off some pretty ridiculous rounds in the matches that we've got the cover of them so far. And, I mean, let alone the Hero AK, those Deagles can have some massive plays, so see what's going to be done. It's a slower approach. They're not really in a rush. Obviously, they know that Apeks aren't going to be aware of what exactly they're working with. They might expect even just mostly default pistols. So they'll look to try and catch someone off guard who's maybe playing a bit too aggressive. But I do like the style we're getting from Apeks. They have one player in the back of B who will look to maybe try and catch 1 or 2 kills if that push comes in. They'll probably have to concede the bomb plant if it does come in this direction, but they've got a good setup at least to do some damage and then set themselves up to win the round off of the retake at the very least.
Yeah, that's the most important thing, isn't it? Get the round. Doesn't matter if you're retaking. Not too fussed about giving Wisla those little economic bonuses this early on in proceedings. And to be fair, you're on a little bit of a bonus round yourself, right? Still an MP9 on the board for Kriaz. Relaxer with the scout and an opportunity to make it work here as he does find the early tag onto Sparrow. A little unfortunate not to get more damage out of that, given that there's no armor at all on this T side. But Freddy Frog's going to open things up now, and that Hero AK not working out. Ponchek falls. Dennis finds another on the lurk in Ivy, and this is just being decimated. Hades, the last man alive, a 1v5. It's never going to happen. Relaxer finds his final frag. And well, they didn't even concede the bomb plant over towards B. Not a single frag found from Wisla, even with that Hero AK on the board. They will get their first rifle buy, but I think some improvement's going to be needed.
Oh, for sure. But that's exactly what Apeks needed right there for themselves to make up for that previous one where they lost a couple of players as well. Keeping some of those weaker weapons, we have a Scout on to relax it, an MP9. I don't mind. The Scout can definitely do some damage on a map like Train. You can have the MP9, as you see, for Groovesarn up close in Pop Dog, and it's still a very capable weapon. So it does give them this bit of a bonus round approach, which I think is a fantastic position to be in early on, rather. I like the pressure Wisla have put on, though. They put out the initial smokes, not going to actually go out with them, of course, just trying to run down some of those nades from the CT side, knowing that there might be a couple weaker weapons. They mightn't have bothered upgrading all of the utilities so that they do have enough money in the next round if they are to lose this one. Just trying to complicate things as much as they can, basically, for Apeks. And, well, again, we're not having anything crazy in these early moments. It is actually pretty slow. Just the default from Wisla trying to feel out what the plan is from Apeks, I guess. Are they moving Sparrow back around, I think, to drop into Pop Dog, maybe? Oh, that nade. Wants to try and return one, but yeah, Yedgar's not feeling good about the damage that was just done. He does return it, but I mean, it's on Groovesarn who's got the MP9, so I don't think he's too worried.
Yeah, stick the SMG in towards drop. Nice pre-fire, get some damage out of it. Nade's not going to be too much concern. He knows he's going down in that position in all reality. Wisla, as you said, very slow to start things off. Goofy's been left posted on Ivy. Whether to make noise or to catch any rotations will remain to be seen. He's lining something up. As the rest of Wisla, clearly the B bomb site, the inner bomb site, going to be a target for this T-side aggression. They've got a little bit of util left over to try and make this execute a reality, but Relaxer already tagging up his first man. There's some good damage on the board pretty much across 3 of these players now as Hades trying to wing his way out of upper. Bomb at least will be able to go down, but Dennis again opening things up. Traded 1-for-1 by Hades, but look at the health on some of these players. 13, 14, and Dennis has found a full HP player through the smoke. Make it a second for Kriaz. They start to line up. It's all too easy. And Goofy, well, he's on this long flank. He's late through Ivy. They've tried it a couple of times now. He's not going to be able to do anything. There's going to be no denial. The defuse will come through. He gets himself at least a kill, make it a second, but he's going to be dealt with regardless. And yeah, it's not a good look at all. Yet again, a 4th round on the board for Apeks. The plan just doesn't seem to be working, at least initially for Wisla. And it's only going to get harder. I mean, 3 AUGs now being brought out for the scoped long-range fights. Relax has got himself on that AWP, finally upgrading off of the Scout. You know, this is not going to get easier.
I mean, you have Dennis going 9-0. I love to see it. I just, it's been a while since I've got to see top level Dennis, and maybe that's what we're gonna get in this game. To be fair, I haven't got to cover him in a long time either, so that's why I was hyped about this game in general. But I was thinking Wisla would probably be the ones with the upper hand, and well, at the moment, as you said, it's not really the case. The quick 4-0 start, a couple extra kills towards the end of that previous round by Goofy, at least doing some damage, but it's not really too substantial, and if they can't get the round win here, then it definitely won't matter. And well, Kree is doing a fantastic job from behind Green. Caught that initial player, manages to hold off Sparrow, just about surviving. I think the nail will get him. Yeah, I was going to say it was a nice molly that was going to stop them from pushing him down, but there was that nade in play, so we're back into a 3-on-3. And well, you have everyone for both of these teams right now in position, and what a shot by Goofy. Freddy Frog taken down in the back lines. Dennis is still tucked in up close, and I don't think he's shown himself yet, so this could catch Ponchek off guard, and yeah, he has no idea. Relax it in the meantime. He was able to take down Yedgar, and now it's all on Goofy. With that bomb in hand, he taps it, looking to try and force the fight now before he goes for the bomb plant, but he's not going to be able to catch Dennis. Thought he had moved back in towards Ivy, and it wasn't the case, of course. So yeah, Dennis takes another 2 kills. He's up 11-0, and Wisla are locked out of another gun round, and this time without even getting the bomb plant, so they do not have enough to get the full buy. Maybe a few pistols and Kevlar, but at the moment, Apeks are on track to get themselves maybe a 6-0 start. And this is looking great.
Yeah, I mean, that was just played very efficiently pretty much across the board, right? Kriaz does well to get 2. The bait and switch with the AWP and Dennis works out to perfection. And Wisla, again, left with their head in their hands, wondering what on earth went wrong. You know, this was a map they took 16-8 off of Apeks the last time these two teams met.
Still their map choice as well.
Like, yeah, a very different look to the Nordic roster. As we said, Wisla this time, Tex, Deagles, whatever they can scramble together to try and make this buy look decent without going below around that 1.5, 2k mark. A couple of Tech 9s up close and personal do have some potential damage. And they're going to get the bomb plant down as well, so that extra cash investment that they didn't manage to get in the previous round is good, but Grisan a little bit better, lining up too. The smokes fade, and it gives Kriaz an absolute gift onto Ponchek. And once again, it's Hades. This time 1v5. I think even a frag would be taken at this point. Dennis will tap the bomb. The smoke will completely obscure Hades' vision. I don't think he's even interested in trying to deny this. He's sat in towards A main. Doesn't look like he's moving either, just sitting, lying in wait. And to be fair, Apex are burning a decent amount of time trying to clear him out. Now they'll just stick it though. Dennis is going to get the defusal, and Hades wants nothing to do with it, would rather save himself the armor. Potentially gives the opportunity for dropping an AWP somewhere. And first pause of the game. I mean, you got to say, honestly, maybe even a little bit too late. A 6-0 start looking absolutely brilliant for Apex, and Wisla really looking like they're struggling.
Yeah, I certainly would have loved it before that first, not the first gun round, maybe that previous one, even before the rush out on towards A. Obviously, that didn't go too well. But I mean, 6-0, it's not too late. You're here on the T side. You want to grind out up towards 6 or 7. One thing I'm noticing right now that I don't even think this is a tactical pause, Wolfie. That's not why we're getting it. It seems like we've lost the player on the side of Wisla. Either way, it does give them the few moments to chat about what's going wrong, rather. But yeah, it's interesting that it wasn't the tactical.
Yeah, I mean, in my mind, you have to take a tactical, right? You're 6-0 down on
They
train.
might even add it on after this once they get their 5th back so they can fill them in.
Yeah, I'd do it. In all honesty, I mean, they've got what, 3 bomb plants, I want to say, and in all of those situations, Apex have got enough damage on the board already to clean it up, or it's been, they've rushed a bomb site with pistols and managed to get one like they did in the pistol round and like they did in the round previous. And Apex, they're playing what seems to me to be a really smart, intelligent play on train. They're happy to sit back when that early util comes over the top. They'll wait for the fights to come to them rather than pushing through smokes and, taking those risks. They're building up some really solid bank on some of these players as well. You see, obviously, Dennis, 5 digits, 10.6. Relax, they're not far behind on 7.4. And yeah, I mean, individuals popping off. Dennis still yet to die. I think Wisla, they've been asked some pretty serious questions after going for this map pick. You've got to imagine out of comfort, right? As we said previously, a 16-8 victory in the last time these
Yeah.
two teams met on train. So it's a no-brainer pick for Whistler, but clearly Apex have been doing their homework.
Yeah, I was gonna say, is it though? I mean, it's kind of that the fool me once, shame on me. Shame on you, rather. Fool me twice, shame on me. So this time, I think Apex are taking it a bit more serious. They probably looked back at that game and being like, "Yeah, you're not catching us again on that. We're gonna make sure we tighten up some of those mistakes and see if we can turn around what was a relatively close one." Obviously, the train you said was a bit more one-sided. It was overpass. We thought maybe where things could be shifted, but well, apparently they're doing it right here now on train. 6-0 at the moment. We're still obviously sitting in the pause, but hopefully this isn't going to be kind of breaking that current momentum. More so just cooling off Apex. You don't like sitting around for too long. You get going, you're feeling good, and then you have to sit there for like 10-15 minutes waiting for a technical pause to be fixed up. Never a fun time. I don't think it's fun for the team who are waiting either, to be fair, but especially when it's kind of something that's completely out of your own control.
Yeah, it's never a great look. I mean, I'm looking back at the stats from the train game, and it's not pretty reading for Whistler. I'm going to be real honest. It was an 8-7 half in favor of Whistler, and that was on their T side the last
Oh,
time these
damn.
two teams met. So they found 8 rounds T side. They've only got 9 more rounds in this half, and they are yet to register on the board. So it really does seem like Apex have gone away. They've done their homework and they've worked out how to play against Whistler. So I'm sure as soon as we get the 5th in, we should be seeing some kind of a pause. I mean, I have no doubt that, they're chatting away now, trying to work out how do you dismantle the CT side, right? How do you pull apart what has so far looked like a very strong hold? But once the 5th is in, I would like to see him take a timeout, take a little bit of time just to really try and think things through. I think this round, especially, second, third time you're going to be able to get full rifles out, I'd be coming into this with a pre-planned execute, probably a fairly swift one as well. A lot of their success has been around that early rush into the A bomb site, right? We saw it on the pistol round.
Mm-hmm.
We saw it on the round prior to this. They at least get a bomb plant out of that both times they try it. So maybe go for that with the rifles behind it. Try and get up and in the CT side's face. A little bit of madness, maybe, pop flashing through some smoke, some stuff like that. Just try and put the pressure back on Apex because at the moment it feels like all the pressure's on Wisla and they're not quite being able to deliver.
Yeah, apologies. I was just trying to have a look to see if we actually had any info about what the pause was for. We didn't, but well, it doesn't matter now because Hades has actually returned to the server, so that should mean we'll be ready to go in a minute or two. Probably a lot less than that, but I'm just giving a little bit of a higher number just in case, guys. Right? No need to throw myself under the bus when I'm not actually sure of how quick they'll unpause. As I had said, I wouldn't mind if they added on the tactical pause now, because I'm sure they've discussed plenty of stuff while Hades was gone. If it was an internet issue and he wasn't actually present in their TeamSpeak or Discord or whatever, then I would like to see them either just keep this going for a couple of seconds as they might be doing now, or else add on one of those tactical pauses, fill them in, and well, yeah, make sure you start turning things around. As you said, they had a really good T side the previous time around. They're going to need to come back drastically from right now if they want to be getting as good of a T side. But I do think they can make do with kind of 5 or 6. A little bit more would be nice, but 5 or 6 is still doable.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, as much as I'm going on about how, Wisla had an 8-7 half on their T side last time these two teams met, they went from 8-7 to 16-8. So it's not like Apeks had a particularly stellar T side in that particular meeting either. So maybe 5-6 rounds even might be able to get it over the line for the boys on Wisla. We are just getting the server all sorted out already. We've got Polly apparently in the server on no HP. That's an interesting scenario for him to find himself in, to say the least. But
Oh yeah, that was weird.
we'll get those coaches out of it. There we go. And hopefully we'll get back into the action very shortly with Wisla. I think in need of an early response to this opening brilliance from Apeks.
Oh, what the hell? Did the shadow stay of the person who left there? Am I seeing that right in spawn?
I mean, that sounds like a CS server thing. I'm going to be real.
Yeah, look, there's still a
Shadow's
shadow. But
saying.
isn't it, look, I have the stream to you on Discord, I think, so you should be able to see this. That's a strange one.
Things.
We've got 2 Glocks joined up together there. You can still see him holding his imaginary gun and all. Alright, lads. The pause is sending us all crazy, as you can see.
This is what happens. We say we
here we
spend
go.
too long in the server. Right. Here we go. Back into the action. AWP in the hands of Hades for the first time on this T side. Saving that armor behind it means he can get a little more utility out as well. A smoke and a flashbang. Teammates are on the AKs. Full utility across the board. This really does scream full execute. Try and get that vision completely tunneled out before you get anything going. And again, Wisla going towards that pretty standard default, at least initially. Ponchek probing over towards this B-bomb site. Couple of players toying with Ivy, run boosted to try and get past any AWPers that may be lurking. And a couple of players up towards the White Halls as well. Just chilling initially, waiting for any CT aggression. But as per usual, Apeks are giving them nothing.
Yeah, normally Wisla are pretty good at being able to kind of abuse the more passive teams, but I guess Train is a map where it's not quite as easy to do so, especially when the CT side has been able to get a start like this. Yeah, that nade, as your little ooh alluded to, it was pretty nasty. Right down on top of Yedgar and Sparrow moving through the halls, and well, that'll certainly make things easier for the B defenders, as it looks like that's where the hit is going to come in. But currently, there's not much info for Apeks. They do at least have 2 players over on this side of the map, but they're playing, as we said, a very passive style, so they're not getting that forward info very early at all. They'll only find out once these nades start to come over that it is indeed likely to be hit. And well, as the smoke fades away, they are getting ready now to move forward. Hades drops into the angle. He did spot Freddy Frog back on the train towards Connector, but a smoke down and a flash over from Freddy Frog are going to give him some room to just spam through and add to that damage that had already been done by the nade. We've got now 3 players who are very low, and they're able to stop the bomb plant. The knee shown just under their train there is denied by Relaxa. The trade at least was available for the bomb to go down, and well, we've ended up in a 3-on-3, which could honestly still go either way, but the CTs, they move in a unit. Kreese, he's got to be the standout player, I believe, so far this season for them. And well, he delivers big time on the retake, leaving it to Freddy Frog and Grusarn to finish it off. But that double kill was huge, and indeed his teammates are able to deal with Hades, who's caught on the bomb site, forced into the open by the Molotov as well. He really didn't have much room to work with there. Even if he hit the shot with the up to take the first player, there should have at least been a trade ready. So yeah, there's another round for Apeks. It's a closer one from Wisla, we've got to say it, but that's not really good enough at this point when you're down 7-0 and when the kills don't even really matter that much considering Apex's money.
Yeah, close is just not quite going to cut it. And that unconfirmed damage with the nade, so critical, right? The B hit comes in, they're spamming through those smokes, spamming to see what they can get connected. And with players already down to 2/3, even half HP, it's all too easy for those men to go down inside of the smokes as they're trying to get control of the bomb site. Buys just enough time. The AWP are getting aggressive, trades 1 for 1. And again, early on, Apeks getting some good damage out. Sparrow down to half HP. These nades are doing so much work. Goofy A little less significant, but still to within that one-shot headshot range of an M4. They're going quickly, though, Wisla. Goofy opens things up onto Grusan, and Relaxer can only trade for one. His teammates going down all around him as he tries to lock out the connector. This is a nice aggression on Old Bomb, though, and Kriaz will be rewarded for it. It's a question of, does he expect Ponchek? Already close into that smoke. And Wisla with a pretty decent lock on things, at least for now. Second smoke towards Old Bomb keeps him out of the equation, and the trades keep coming thick and fast. Relaxer gets another from Connector, but he's still so desperately stuck. He really needs Kriaz to come out here, and Ponchek's dealt with the AWP in the meanwhile. It's all on Kriaz in the 1v2, and he's been spotted out as well. Tapping away, Hades will find the conversion, and Wisla will finally get themselves on the board with the fast A hit.
Yeah, I liked it. It looked honestly like they were probably going to finish it even a bit easier when they got into the initial, I think it was 4-on-3, might have even been the 5-on-3, obviously, with the players caught around the Old Bomb train and such. It looked like maybe things were going to be pretty straightforward, but they end up losing a couple of players, so they don't really have any money left over, which means, of course, they do have to now replicate that performance, and I don't know how successful another straight-up A-rush will be. This time you have the deeper molly coming in, nades behind it to do some damage. They've nearly gotten a kill, and they've lined up for Grusarn. Fantastic double despite being initially blinded. They were focused elsewhere, and he's given the chance to recover the situation. And although he will eventually fall again, look at the damage that has been done. And now you've got Dennis on the AWP as well. Actually decides to go up and try and take the fight. Kriaz had no idea Sparrow was already up close and sandwich. And I had no idea Kriaz had also pushed forward to that position himself. So now it's all on Freddy Frog. And while it is the one-on-one with both players being low, he is completely unaware of Yedker's position. And I don't even think he knows exactly where the bomb is, does he? He might have spotted it earlier. He is actually watching towards Pop Dog, so he seems to have a bit of an inkling about where he may be coming from. The timing, though, it is not ideal. Yedker, given the room to move out, he can grab that bomb, and in theory, he could take it through connector to B. He might consider that.
He's got the time to toy with it. For now, at least, looking like he wants to take the fight. Both players very low on HP here. Freddy's actually gone and cleared out Ivy to make absolutely sure there's no funny business. That bomb starts to tick down, the pressure back on the CT side. Now one smoke for either player. Could potentially lock out one of these angles, but they are just tiptoeing around each other at the moment. Jedka looks like he might get a timing as well. Freddy Frog's clearing through Old Bomb, and the backstab surely going to come through. It has to be inevitable at this point. Jedka, as soon as he rounds this corner, should have the information he needs to clutch it up, and he's going to spot Freddy Frog throwing that smoke down. Low HP. The conversion will come through. It goes down to the wire again, but it seems to be just a little bit of confusion in the ranks of Apeks at this point. A flying 7-0 start, but Wisla is starting to sow those seeds of doubt once again.
I don't know, I just felt like that was going to go horrible and somehow the timing was going to work against them in the back lines there after he stopped for a moment. I was like, oh, he's going to get around, he's going to get the smoke down or something and just try and stick it and be blocked off. I was a little worried, but obviously he does make it work. It was really, really well played. It just, sometimes you see those situations go a bit wrong based on the timings. And either way, they've forced the eco. As you said, Apeks, that round looked a little bit off from them. As you admit, I think it was Kriaz who was up close in sandwich. Didn't realize there was already a player out who I'm pretty sure had already gotten a kill as well. So they should have been aware he was still nearby. And what had initially been a pretty decent hold, I think at one point even looked like a 3-on-2. Of course, ended up going the way of Wisla. Few pistols though. As Zeus, I was looking at over on B. I was hoping Freddy Frog was going to get a chance, but at the moment it doesn't really look like they're going to be doing much around that side of the map. And that makes sense. They've had all of their success so far on A, and when you're going up against pistols, you want to mostly avoid those close range positions. Dennis used to be known as a pistol god. Can he give it to us right now is the question. That was one through the smoke. Didn't even need vision right there. Once he actually has his eyes on them, Wisla could be in trouble, although Kriaz with the P250 swings in and drops the bomb. And I'm pretty sure knows there's a player up close on Olaf as well, because he's got Relaxa watching it with him to help out. This is getting very dangerous for Wisla with the current health. And then the one player who you do have who's healthy is on the AWP. I'd probably rather him on a rifle right now, but they are going to have those rifles leading the way out in towards Sandwich to see what can be done. Again, Kriaz, he knows he has a bit of help, just baits for Relaxa to come in to get the trade on the USP, and, well, with 25 seconds, they've got to commit this to A, and now it's all on Hades.
Huge backstab from Freddy Frog, recovers the AK-47 as well, and as you said, the AWP, yes, he's on full HP, but he's on an AWP. It's not going to happen, and Apeks, they get it done with absolutely nothing. Deagles, P250s, and default pistols are all they need to find the round success and guarantee themselves the lead at the half as well. And I don't think you can understate how awkward this is now for the Wisla economy, right? They were just starting to build things up, just starting to build a little bit of momentum, although it had been close on both occasions. Well, now they've just lost to a pretty much full eco over on the CT side of things, so they are in the dumpster. They've got 3 Deagles, a couple of P250s, a charity shop of a buy. And I mean, they're looking to pull off the impossible, right? They've just seen their opposition do it. It'd be nice if they could pull something like that away. But with Apeks playing this very passive, very structured CT side to train, it's going to be so difficult for the Pistols to even find a pick.
Ooh, yeah, I was going to say.
That's such a nice read.
Just in general, it's harder to make these force buys work on the T side. Even with Train being the map where you can get on towards B, for example, pretty easily, it's tough to actually win the round to get anything on top of just the bomb plant and maybe a couple of kills. And, well, they wanted to go towards A. Again, I don't blame them. That's where they've had all of their success so far, but they were punished pretty big in that previous round anyway. Oh, are we going to get any more? This is a nice boost. He can see the Ivy player. Spots the top of the noggin. Not able to get any shots off, though, so Kreese for now, he's okay. But they're waiting patiently. And Freddy Frog, he's doing the same. He's actually not going to push forward. If he was to go down behind them in Pop Dog, they weren't watching that there for the last, like, 20 seconds. Both of them were actually fully focused on the kind of boost out. Even though the bottom player, I don't think could really see too much. I think he had to focus on the swing around Olaf just to make sure they didn't peek Pop Dog from there. And yeah, when they eventually get nothing from the boost and try and move out, it is a quick cleanup. 9-2. Already you have Apeks on a good half here on the CT side. Everything on top of this is just going to put them in an absolutely fantastic position now. So Wisla, they've got to be trying to grind out those final 4 rounds.
I'd say they're pretty much essential, at least 3 of them at this point. And if this rifle buy goes south, we are looking at a very awkward half on Wisla's map pick. Nobody really registering any kind of stats. 4, 6, 7 kills. They've not been finding any real success apart from those isolated 2 rounds. And Apeks, off the back of it, been allowed to build up this CT economy as well. Sat in a pretty healthy spot right now as, again, those nade timings. So clean to bring Jedka down to half HP once more. I think that's like the 3rd or 4th time he's been put in that position and brought down to half HP before he sees a single player. But Hades at least going to find the opening. Relaxer is quick to react, quick to trade things down, and well, the T-side are by no means committed. Dennis is going to walk right into the lurk. Goofy will deal with him. And now that T-side once again find themselves with the man advantage. Ponchek sneaking up over towards Oil. He has got a pretty advanced position, but doesn't seem to want to reveal his hand just yet. Kriaz should have been heard as he dropped down, so Ponchek should have all the info in the world, but he can't win it. Kriaz jumping from train to train. Playing Frogger out here as he finds the refrag. And once again, 3-on-3. Wisla's hands being forced, and it's going to be forced in towards this A-bomb site. Info should start to come through for Grusan. He's been spotted, though. Taking a good lick of damage. Has to fall off the angle. And if Relaxer can't find a pick, it will have to concede the plant. He does manage to find one, though. And the man advantage comes into the retake.
Yeah, you've still got Kreese, though, who's low. Grusan, he's tagged up a little bit. So it's not like it's an unwinnable position from for Sparrow and Goofy. And, well, they want to try and swing as soon as they hear that nade being thrown. It was, though, just a little bit of a bait. I'm pretty sure that Grusan even flashed himself. It just allowed for Relaxed to be ready on the AWP to snatch up the kill instantly. And, well, now it's a 1-on-3. Sparrow, if he can hit some quick shots, it's certainly winnable. But, no, Relaxa is way too fast. Rips off the head. Clean and precise right there. Grusan, I think that was a little bit of a teabag right there. It was one quick one, though. He didn't want anyone to notice. He didn't want to be too rude. But he still needs to kind of assert how dominant they're being right now in this game, because it's ridiculous. I wanted to say, it seems like they've definitely looked back over that previous game. They've got a bit of an idea of the tendencies of Wisla, especially early round, and that's why they're just hammering them with those nades above Pop Dog. They seem to know that there's always pretty much going to be someone in that area, and it's pretty much some guaranteed free damage, and we have seen that multiple times already. I'm waiting for the spam to connect alongside the nade, though. We haven't seen that yet. We are going to see instead of B hitting this round, though, and I like the setup. Relaxa takes one, he's going to fall back. He can leave the rifle around upper as well to hold on to some control. And, well, it looks like it's going to force Wisla into a slightly more timid approach, considering they lost that player with no chance of a retread, and there's another good nade. Doesn't do too much damage, but it does a little bit, and again, they seem to know the timings. They have a good idea of everything that Wisla wants to do.
Straight B hit going to come in. Man disadvantage, make it 2. Relaxer playing around the smokes, around these angles. Freddy Frog there to find another. Finally, they deal with the AWP Wisla, but Freddy Frog has just tucked himself into upper. No interest in taking that fight whatsoever. Jedka gets caught by the timing, and now he can look to strike. Goofy completely stuck on this bomb site, does well for one, finds the second on the spray down, but there's just too many players. There's just too much CT defense coming into that bomb site for him to do anything about it. And it's going to be an 11th round on the board for Apeks. I mean, I've got to say, at this point, I'm worried for Overpass, right? That was a closer map than Train
Yeah.
last time these two teams met, and clearly Apeks have been doing their homework. I mean, Wisla, max loss bonus. They will be able to buy into this round. They will be able to try and put up some kind of resistance, but Apeks, it's just been a schooling on the CT side of Train.
Really has. I wasn't expecting this. This is honestly shocking. Again, this is Wisla's map choice, so this is going to be tough for them to recover from. Perhaps their CT side will be stronger, but they need enough rounds here on the T side to give them room to even make that happen. As well, again, the first blood goes the way of Apeks. It is still the A hit, as we can see. 2 players already committed out. They're trying to get a lurker up through Ivy as well, but he's been held off there and kept busy for the moment. And, well, when he eventually goes forward, does catch Dennis. I believe he had a flash in from a teammate, and, well, all of the frags suddenly start going the way of Wisla. Popping heads all over the A bomb site, and suddenly it looks like this round should be theirs as the bomb goes down. Might even catch Freddy Frog and Connector, I believe. Yes, saw the head. Really doesn't need to be taking that fight, though. They've got a 4-on-2. Make Apeks work for the retake if they wanted to give it a go, but, well, they're going to back off and save, and I'm completely behind this. You're still going to be up 11-3. You'll make sure you have the up and all of the nades. You could even get out a secondary up if you want to because of the save coming in. And, yeah, just try and aim for the 12-3 half. Even if you do end up dropping the 4th round, it's still 11-4 at the half time. If you win that pistol round, you're right on track for the victory.
It feels like we're casting old meta Train. We're talking about a
bit, yeah.
minimum number of T-side rounds, right? And it's just like CT dominance. Okay, how many can they skim together to make their CT side viable? Hades looking to do some damage. Does remove the AWP and the second man. Freddy Frog goes down, so that second AWP setup becomes a little less viable. I mean, Freddy Frog's only got 2,400. He can't really buy. He's going to need to be dropped by someone. And there's not a lot of cash to go around. So Apeks with some big decisions to make. The pause is called. I mean, last round and a half, why not give it a go? Try and game out the best way to play it.
Yeah.
But I think Wisla have given themselves a decent shout of an 11-4 here.
Definitely, yeah. Being able to take those 2 weapons away is pretty huge. As we can see, you have Grusarn, who could only just about scrape out the M4 and body armor. Freddy Frog especially is lacking money. Could see the drop coming in, but I don't think so, because you also want to be able to get that up back out on towards Relaxa. So yeah, likely that we will see a player, or potentially even 2, with weaker weaponry, depending on if Grusarn wants to get the nades out behind an SMG, instead of just getting the rifle and body armor. Og in the hands of Kreese. Yeah, the op comes out for Relaxa. Dennis, he's not going to have a secondary one, which we've seen at a couple points. Would have been glass cannon if he wanted it, so makes sense he's going to head and avoided it. And, well, it's not a bad buy by any means right here. You can definitely make this one work. You see the FAMAS even for Grusarn, so he goes for a bit more of a middle ground. The only main thing is they are lacking a kit, and we've actually seen Wisla being pretty successful in getting the bomb down. At least a lot more than the rounds they've won. Successful in the overall scheme of things.
True. Could prove problematic yet. Execute going to come in early. Still 1:30 on the clock, but they've committed the nades. They've committed to the hit, and Freddy Frog, once again, looking for this long backstab. Kriaz, though, going to open things up before he's traded down. Wisla doing good work, clearing out the bomb site, doing their due diligence, and finding themselves a big advantage. 4-on-2, and Freddy Frog is on a very long flank, I have to say. Not going down drop could be a real issue. He might have even been able to deny the bomb plant if he found a nice timing. Instead, he's looking to commit to the long way round, and Hades, for a split second, had this covered, has opted to reset. Dennis can only go 1-for-1, though, and it's all on Freddy Frog in the 1v3. Gets the first. That's the AWP down, but he doesn't expect the close fight. 11-4 as we go into the half, and I think Wisla, they'll take that.
Oh yeah, it's a pretty solid recovery if they get the pistol round, especially now to kick off the second half. Get the first gun round, and then suddenly we really do have a game on our hands. But I feel like they can't really let much go in those opening moments, and especially if we see Apeks getting that initial 3-0 start, then yeah, there's just not going to be enough room for them to make that comeback happen. So the pistol round a little bit more important than usually. As you said, this feels like it's an old kind of economy train, where the CTs are struggling with their economy or whatever, maybe or rather the Ts are just being blocked out by the CTs and are struggling with their economy and aren't even really able to get the buys, which was something we've seen a lot there. Because normally Train is a map where you can get that bomb down at the very least on the pushes, but I mean, that was only happening maybe half of the time, more so than you'd maybe expect on some other maps, but still a lot less than you'd normally expect out of a T-side on train. And even when they did get it down, they'd normally be cleaned up very, very quickly. So it was just a very rough T-side in general from Wisla. They're going to need a big uptick in performance. And I don't think we've really haven't had anyone standing out either in terms of the fragging. You don't have Hades really doing too much on the op either. Maybe on the CT side he'll be stronger. But he needs to contest against Relaxa, who's been on point.
I mean, Wisla have put all the pressure on themselves, right? Heading into the CT half. It was not a pretty performance, and it did just look like Apeks had done their due diligence, right? They knew where the players were going. Their nades were well timed pretty much across the board, consistently finding chip damage through that window in towards drop. And it looked like they knew what they were coming up against, much more so than the last time these two teams met. They looked like they knew the strats, they knew how to play against them, spending some time in the refrag servers, making sure that they know the lineups and where the gaps in the smokes are, where the opportunities are to get yourselves back into the rounds. And I feel like we've been saying it every broadcast we've done together at this point, Dean, but the pistol round is essential for Wisla at this point. If they lose that pistol, it's not so easy to bite back immediately on a CT side. It's going to make life very, very difficult for them. So this round really becomes crucial in deciding who takes. Don't forget the map pick of Wisla. It's all too easy to forget that looking at the scoreline of 11-4. But Apeks very much taking it to the Polish roster. The Sparrow does pick up the defuse kit and the smoke. Fairly standard default buy. Interestingly, Apeks yet to pick up any utility, and they're not actually going to commit to any at all. No flashes, no smokes. That is not normal whatsoever for Train. They're just looking to take the straight heads-up fights.
Yeah, this is going to be a scrappy one. It's going to be a brawl straight onto a bomb site. We're not going to see much sitting around. And Welsh Sparrow, he's going to be hunted down most likely now in these back lines. Let's call Yedker in. He has a decent angle on towards Ivy from the brown train, but so far shots not really being connected by either side. And by the time we do see one kill being found, it's instantly returned on. He's able to take down Yedker. Goofy trying to hang on, actually finds his second kill now, but he is being wrapped on as well from Olaf. I mean, and Freddy Frog is another player he needs to worry about. He does have a teammate in position, actually, in Popdog, who was trying to help him out, but he's been taken out by Relaxa. And, well, suddenly it's a one-on-one. This is one of the most chaotic pistol rounds I've seen in a while. We've had teams just switching positions on this A-bomb site and playing around for time as much as they possibly could. And, well, eventually, as we pointed out with the one-on-one, Freddy Frog decides, well, I've loads of time. I really don't need to commit this onto A anymore. I can fall back off, I can reapproach, and, well, maybe even find access to a bomb site completely open if I play my time in correctly. And he's going to come in from Ivy, meaning likely still the A bomb site, but if he wanted, he could creep through the back lines towards B. And that would maybe not be expected. The thing is, Sparrow, he's set in a perfect position to make sure he's ready for either of these bomb sites.
Perhaps importantly, note that Sparrow is the player who picked up the defuse kit at the start of the round, so no armor behind this. Very vulnerable to the spam and pray of a Glock. Does potentially start to swing things in favor of Freddy Frog, who on just half HP has got to be a little careful. 18 seconds left. He may be hurt as well, trying to rush this bomb plant down because he's not left himself any time to do it. He's going to be right down to the last possible second. Does clear his way onto B, like you suggested, through the back lanes. We'll get that bomb dialed in, but yeah, Sparrow's heard it. He's aware of which way to look, and he's going to start to clear his way out of connector. This now becomes a game of timings. Apeks, Freddy has just tucked himself in close to the bomb. Can't really get out of that position whatsoever. Sparrow not making too much noise. A couple of little audio cues, but he's going to go take the high ground. Freddy Frog looking to dance around him. Might have just caught a timing, in fact. Sparrow does drop down, taps the bomb, gives the game away. And Freddy Frog, he should have all the time in the world to clean this up now. He's swapped positions with Sparrow. There's no way he suspects this. Looking completely the wrong way. Missed shot. That could be enough. Sparrow's looking for the peak. He's trying to bait his man into it, and he's found the one tap. It's going to be close. It's going to be desperately close, and I'm not sure. I don't think he's got it. He hasn't. Freddy Frog gets off, gets out of dodge. That was desperately close, and he should have landed that shot.
Yeah, but the thing was, he left, he peeked in, saw that the bomb obviously wasn't being stuck, and then put it into a position where he didn't need to land the shot in the end, thankfully. So he kind of played his time on that bomb out well. As you said, though, probably still should have had the drop from behind either way, but they get the round win, and that is what's important. And now Wisla are in an absolutely dreadful position. It's looking pretty grim for them here. If they don't make this force buy work, suddenly they're going down 14-4 most likely. And then when they do finally get the guns out, it will just have to be an absolutely flawless comeback here on the CT side. At best, I mean, they could drop one and then play for an overtime, and it's just not where you want to be on your own map choice as well. Apeks have definitely put some hard work into this map since a couple of days back. Knowing, obviously, they had this match against Wisla coming, I'd say that matchup a couple of days back might have been a blessing for them, because then they had a chance to try and fix things up before this Premier game. Which, with both of these teams up around the top couple of spots, and the winner of this taking second place is obviously a very important one.
Certainly plenty on the line in these sort of games. Potential Pro League spots being decided by these sort of matchups, so important that you do your homework. And as you said, Apeks, blessing in disguise, being beaten up on train by Wisla has given them the time to go back to do their homework and work out exactly how they can just dismantle things. Taking this round slowly, however. 45 seconds left on the clock. They've worked out that it is a force. They've committed to spawn to try and throw the utility over the top. Does look like the set play towards A is going to come in, and for now, at least, the majority of the CT presence is over towards this A bomb site. Smoke to push them out in towards Olaf, and they're trying to funnel the T side here. A man on the ladder dropping down, can't quite connect. Grusan will deal with him. Hades again doing good work, though. The Deagle recovers an AK-47, and Apeks looking ever so slightly in disarray. Bomb goes down, relaxes next, and he's got no health to work with. Hades, the triple from Sandwich, buys all the time in the world for his teammates. And it's Freddy Frog left in the 1v3. 8 seconds left. He really needs to get on with this and die. He needs to get the financial investment. We'll find one more before he goes down. But Wisla, well, the start of the comeback is on.
Okay, yeah. See, the thing is here, if Wisla can get going on the CT side, they have some scary potential setups, because you not only have Hades, who's pretty capable on the op, you also have Sparrow, who obviously for the longest of times was known as one of the better oppers in the region, in the country. So if they can get this economy going, if they can build it up like Apeks did in those initial moments, there's nothing to say that they can't make this comeback happen. But for now, Apeks, they want to come right back and see if they can keep the pressure on, if they can break them right back down and basically just end this here and now. At that point it would be. So you need to see Wisla hanging on. And, well, they've got a pretty good investment. Obviously, getting an AK from the previous, a couple of, I think they got an SMG out of it as well. So it is pretty strong in terms of having 3 rifles. But Yedgar's gone. What a shot from Kreese. He's looking crisp throughout this game. It is only the Mach 10, I believe, they're being taken down. But still, you don't want any early casualties. And although there's not great firepower, you've got the Galil and the Deagles, which have combining, especially as they look to take it back over towards B now, could certainly get a quick entry, get the bomb down, and then suddenly have the time working in their favor for the afterplant. So this could very quickly spiral out of control.
These opening picks, they force CTs to make aggressive plays for information. It forces them into angles that they perhaps wouldn't want to be otherwise holding. And as the smokes come out towards this B bomb site, it's going to be a very isolated man in the form of Ponchek. Rotation's going to be slow, and Freddy Frog takes advantage. 2 quick picks, in fact, as Grusan finds another with the Deagle. Well, we said this round was a must-win, and they needed to get through it relatively cleanly as well. I think Wisla at this point have to consider the save. They've been dismantled by the Deagles, and yeah, Goofy just wants to get his hands on that AK-47 and get out of there. We'll be able to do so. We'll be able to get out relatively cleanly. I don't think Apeks will overly commit to the hunt. Happy to send at least a couple of players. Of course, with these Deagles, there's not too much harm in trying to maybe take a man out, especially for the likes of Relaxo, who doesn't even have any armor behind it, so they'll send some probes. They'll try and work out where these CTs are hiding, but generally speaking, going to be happy to hold on to the likes of the Galil, the M4, the MP9, because, well, once again, they have dismantled Wisla, except this time it's on their T side, and they only needed Deagles to do it.
Oh, this is real bad. Real bad right now. You can see it's forcing them back onto another force buy, but if they lose this, they're down to 15 before they get the guns again. And yeah, I mean, it's just not looking good. Win back to force buy now, and then maybe I'm back on the potentially believe in train. Not even the one where I'm actually believing. It just means there's a chance I could believe if they keep it up. Do you get me? So yeah, there's a very long road ahead of them right now. I don't know. Wisla just shouldn't be letting those go. They win out of force buy and they drop right back to one in such a dreadful scoreline as well. It was their chance back into their own map choice, and it doesn't look like this force buy is going to go quite as well, at least not in the initial moments. Yedgar picked off by Dennis in towards Pop Dog, and well, at this point now, with the man advantage, Apeks don't really need to take too many risks. We are seeing a bit of an A stack as well from Wisla. As I say that, obviously, though, Sparrow moves back over towards B. So I was going to say they did kind of have strong positions for if the hit was to come in, which it was looking to be on this side of the map. But it's still a lot of time, so it's not really a position where Apeks are fully committed to anything as of yet. Just, again, probing across the map, making Wisla show what they have in play, and, well, trying to find out where exactly everything is positioned.
Forcing them to commit the utility as well, which is always so difficult on a map like Train. Goofy does manage to get at least one, but that's the AK now removed from the equation. A 1-for-1 trade, and, well, Apeks only lose a man with a MAC-10. It's not the end of the world at all. Hades does well to trade 1-for-1, gets his hands on the AK as well, trying to stay alive, trying to buy as much time as possible, but it's not going to happen. It's actually a team kill as Relaxer takes out Grusan in the madness, and, well, 2v1, that potentially starts to open things up a little bit. Ponchek all the timing, catches a man with a nade out. They should have all the info they need now, but the AK's been recovered. And Ponchek's going to look to make this stick. Spray down not going to connect. Relaxer finds the frag and the critical one at that. Apeks 2 rounds away from an absolute barnstormer of a victory here on Train. And, well, Wisla, you've got to say, just haven't shown up.
No, this I don't know what's going on. Again, we've got to probably attribute some of it to Apeks having the time to prep and try and fix up some of the mistakes from the previous day, because there's a lot to learn from a 16-8 loss, but I don't feel like we're getting the Wisla that we're used to seeing. Yeah, as you said, they're not showing up themselves. There's the mixture of that and just Apeks being so prepared at the moment. And it does leave me worried for Overpass as well coming up next. As you had mentioned, that was the one that was actually close the previous time around and could have went the way of Apeks. But who knows? Maybe Apeks are just maybe it just takes Wisla a while to warm up.
Well, you gotta hope, haven't you?
Yeah, I'm trying to be optimistic here, trying to find a silver lining, because it's just not what I expected out of them here on Train. If anything, I thought it was going to be a close game, but I figured if there was going to be a scoreline like this, it would probably be towards Wisla.
Exactly. It's just, they've just stalled. There's nothing going their way. This time, at least a 3-man stack over towards this B-bomb site. 3 Deagles to try and do what they can. Full Execute going to come in over the top. All the utility in the world committed to this. Rotations will be able to come through, and there is a lot of presence, but as Kriaz takes out the first man, Hades, again doing well to trade, does feel like he's starting to have a little bit of a game, and the adjustment almost connects. He's bought his teammates time on the rotation, and actually 2v1, this is viable. Relaxer misses his shot on the AWP, and now he's got to peek right into a scout on low HP. That is never going to work. Goofy, how do Wisla get away with that one? It's a 6th round out of absolutely nothing. And again, I mean, you don't want to hype it up too much, but it's a chance to at least build a little bit of momentum, a little bit of hope for Overpass.
Yeah, at the very least, get going. I don't know if I see them being able to pull off the full comeback with what we've been getting from Apeks. It seems like they should inevitably be able to grind out these 2 rounds. But how many of these wins rather have we seen from Wisla being on weaker investments at this point? It's been a few for sure. And we're not really seeing those gun rounds being something they can consistently pull together.
They definitely got to clean up their act a little bit, but this is the problem for Wisla, right? Getting so little done on their T side has just put them in a situation where they can't do anything about this. And, well, fast B-rush going to come through. Molotov should do the bulk of the work. The flash is good. The spraying Glock not quite able to connect initially. I mean, everybody is low HP. Nades will finish this job for them, but any damage that Apeks can get will be fantastic. And they are finding a couple of picks here and there. Jedka overlooking the oil angle will go down, and somehow, although the health doesn't look like it, Apeks have found themselves a man advantage. Goofy trying to go top of oil to take the fights, will manage to find the spray down, and they will keep a couple of players alive. But Apeks doing some seriously good economic damage, considering it was, what, a P250 and 4 Glocks that rushed into that B-bomb site?
Yeah, it was the Glocks that found the entries as well. Picking up one of the M4s then to get a little bit more out of it. So I don't even think the P250 done anything. That is way too much to be given away right there. You don't get to build up any sort of money. All of your investment goes back into this round, meaning if Apeks win this one, then you have nothing to try and fight for an overtime. So this is a horrible position to be in. And obviously Apeks with a bomb plant with some kills out of it. They have a fantastic investment. They've got the up for Relaxer. Freddy Frog, yeah, he does have an AK on the ground, so he's all good. And, well, yeah, it just gives the boys the chance now, obviously, to immediately break Wisla and put an end to Train before there's any chance of a comeback. And Relaxer with the spawn takes the peek out main, catches Yedgar crossing, and they also know Goofy's up close on E-Box, I believe. So he could be in trouble. He's called in some assistance from Hades. And, well, I don't think Apeks want to put too much pressure on this at the moment with the man advantage. But, well, Grusan gets caught. Smoke down. There's no attempt at the trade there from the second player in Pop Dog either. So back into a 4-on-4. A position that should favour Apeks a little bit still at this point. But by no means as much, especially with a decent amount of nades still being remaining there on the CT side. It's not great, but they can afford to kind of sit back for a moment and maybe just take some control a bit later on. Although they wanted to move Goofy right in the main. That's always risky. No flash or anything. They just take the kind of chance there to push him in solo, not making any noise even, so they have a bit of info. And that seems to have made them think it's going to be the B hit, which is not currently the case.
Everything just grinding to a halt. Apex. They were expecting aggression, but it was over towards Ivy rather than main. They've had a couple of players holding for this for a long old time. Sparrow not biting whatsoever. 40 seconds left. They do still have a couple of smokes on the board. Still enough utility to plan out a full execute, but by running the clock so low, it almost points it towards this A bomb site, and Sparrow will strike at the worst possible moment. Takes out the first man. Relaxer, he's got to clear main with an AWP. That's just never going to work out, and Goofy doubles up from his aggressions. 18 seconds left on the clock, and Apeks just completely bottling this round, in all honesty. Freddy Frog, I think, will look to save that AK. Actually trying to commit to it, see if he can take a little more away from the CT side, but it's going to leave him vulnerable. Sparrow will deal with him. And the economy, once again, in a little bit of an awkward spot for Apeks. Not the best of buys in the world. As you said, they've only got to grind out 2 rounds, but every round, every little bit of confidence they give to Wisla could come back to bite them on map 2.
Or well, if this one lasts for long enough, it could come back to bite them here potentially as well. But it's not quite at that point yet. I normally begin to maybe worry when it gets up towards 11 or so, when you get over the double digits, because at that point there's usually only a couple of gun rounds left. But yeah, I mean, I guess even at this point, this next gun round is going to be the one where they really want to turn it around before Wisla do get into that position where I think they'll at the very least then be ready for overpass a little bit better. Because I don't know, they just never found their footing in the early moments. It's only now that they've kind of gotten going. Oh, Ponchek, he could be in trouble. Is he going to stick around with the smoke? He hears the smoke coming down, so he at least has a warning that the push is coming forward. And, well, yeah, is ready for 2 of them at least. A little bit delayed on the follow-up. A fantastic flash, though, to blind them and to eventually allow for the trade, rather, to be found. But they're not going to get anything else from it. No bomb plant, no more frags, it doesn't look like. So it is a stronghold on B from Wisla.
Much better. Much better from the CT side. That's more like it. No P250 and Glock madness. No multiple frags. No bomb plant. Just locking things out and actually pulling out the double AWP setup as well here. Giving themselves some definite breathing room. I mean, they're by no means out of it at this point. Built up a little bit of bank. Double AWP setup. If they can find some consistency behind it, could start to cause some serious damage. Problem is, they have left themselves very few opportunities to make mistakes. They are going to be under pressure, forced to try and play for their lives in map 1 pretty much every single round. Krias has snuck out Olaf early, but they're dumping utility onto him, piling that pressure on. 2 or 3 players pointed in his general direction now, as he's going to take more damage through the smoke. Down to 17 HP, he's got to get out of dodge, manages to do so. But Wisla doing a good job of taking away that early presence, that early control that Apeks clearly wanted to try and get their hands on, forcing the man all the way back into T-spawn, in fact, to line up some utility for his team. Apeks. A couple of players sneaking out. The double peak Ivy doesn't quite connect either way. Sparrow will be able to get away.
Oh, Lord.
But this is getting very awkward indeed. CT's heavy presence over towards this A-bomb site. Boost doesn't work out. Hades just gets an absolute gift. Grusan had no idea just how exposed he was. And now with that man advantage, with Krias still low on HP, Apeks looking very flustered, in all honesty. The Ivy crossfire is there. It's well set up, and it's going to take an awfully good pop flash to even start to clear things out. And time again becomes an issue. 30 seconds. And they've got next to no map control. Sparrow will be smoked off his angle, but Jedka there to back him up, at least for now. The pre-fires through, not connecting. Jedka does go down. Goofy now under a little bit of pressure, playing in towards the sandwich, but already the rotations will make their way through, and Hades big on the flick. Second man, that's bombed down with 13 seconds left. They've got to get a shift on. 10 seconds. Freddy, he's got no choice. He's got to try and get that bomb down, and there's 2 players right on top of him. They're pincering in, and they will find the frag. Ponchek gets it done once more. Wisla find their way to double digits. And I think I might be starting to see why Apeks were having issues on train last time.
Yeah, that was Weird. Did you see exactly what happened in Pop Dog right there? They were trying to get the boost going, but they didn't. They somehow got lost in the smoke and ended up just being right underneath the kind of top of the door. So they obviously couldn't get on each other's heads. And yeah, once the smoke faded away, he somehow stepped backwards right into the open and just died. So yeah, that was horrible. Honestly, that round looked like it was going to go pretty well for them then, even when they started getting the entries. But then obviously you have Hades pop off and hit a ridiculous flick on the first player coming out. Pop jumps up, catches another player in sandwich, and obviously eventually does get traded, but he had just left his team in that position where there was no time with Freddy Frog having to just try and force the bomb plant, and he wasn't given the space to do it. So now we've got 4 rounds in the difference, and well, yeah, a few of these are gun rounds maybe if the bombs can keep going down, especially for Apeks. But that scoreline can dwindle away pretty damn quick. Oh, and we're getting that double up as well.
Oh, it's a big call for a CT side. But of course, I mean, Wisla, they've been on the edge for so long now, I don't think they're even frightened of it, just staring over into the abyss. Not a care in the world. Nice nade coming through, does good damage onto 2 players. It's faster from Apeks. They want to get this bomb down early. They want to get A-side control, but Jedka not going to give it up so easily. The trades come through. It's hectic, but it is 3-on-3. That double AWP, not always viable in the retake. Apeks realizing that both greens are out, have opted to start changing things up a little bit, and Grusan, a huge pick. Sparrow goes down, and the CT side now really have a decision to make. Ponchek will be able to trade things out, but he's down to half HP, and Hades is just trying to play this smoke. He needs a pick to get his teammate out, but it's not going to happen. Freddy Frog now just tucks himself into E-Box, and Ponchek spotted out, position known, bomb out in no man's land. No smoke to even try and mask the defuse. They can just swing together, swing as a team, clear the bomb out, and Apeks have 15. It's taken them a while, but they've got it over the line, and because Wisla have consistently been buying that double AWP, look at their economy.
Yeah, it ruined them completely. I enjoyed the way they approached that after plant right there. Obviously, they didn't have very good control in it. They only had 1 in main and then 2 players around the E-box. So what they done was they just had Grusarn fight. He did get the 1 kill on Ivy, went down to the man in heaven. But then because of that, they had no idea there was another man on the E-box, and that just gave them a free kill on the upper creeping out of Pop Dog. So it ended up working really well for them to kind of counteract that they just had no one around the bomb site to delay things. So yeah, big round from Apeks. It puts them up onto map point, and it puts them in a position to try and put an end to train here, which they need to do. Overpass, we also said, could be a closer one, considering how close it had been the previous time around. But Wisla have certainly woken up, and that's going to scare me, especially if they're able to get a strong start onto map 2. But, well, this one isn't over. Couple of M4s in the op alongside some deagles. The main thing is they have absolutely no nades, and they also don't have a kit, which when it's looking to be a B hit is going to be a big issue.
Out upper initially, Kriaz able to trade, and Hades, well, as much as he gets one, we needed so much more from him. He's playing around these trains, trying to get anything at all done, but you can look, see the utility just completely locking him out of these angles. There's nothing he can do as the bomb transfers onto the site, and there's still 2 deagles on the board. One of those rifles being lost close to the site itself makes it so awkward. Sparrow trying to get anything he can done, but Dennis is too quick. Again, the trades come through, but that's the AWP gone, and it's Jedka and Goofy. Make it just Goofy. Last man in the 1v3. It's never going to happen. It's Apeks who take map 1. They steal the map pick of Wisla, and what a performance to do it.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. Yeah, sorry, just had to swap us over onto this one, so that took a moment. But yeah, 16 to 10. Obviously, it looked like they probably could have taken that a little bit more one-sidedly even, but the main thing is they've gone ahead and stolen away their opponent's map choice. You can clearly see the improvement that they've had a look back. They had a lot of the tendencies, especially of the T side there of Wisla. CT got a little bit shaky, definitely wasn't as convincing, but in the end, we're able to make it happen either way. And now they've got Overpass, one that was close previously, one that, again, I'd imagine they've made some improvements on. And are Wisla going to be ready for it? Even now that they've warmed up, I do still think this could be a rough one.
Definitely feels like Apeks have all the momentum right. They're in the perfect spot. They've just taken their opposition's map pick. They're heading to a map that was close before, and you have to imagine they've prepped again. But we're going to have to throw it to a very quick break, guys. When we come back, it will be Overpass, so don't go anywhere.